Welcome into Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. I feel like we're always in a rush when I hit that button. Nothing ever seems to work right when we get in here.
No, I don't have any earphones that are working really well. So
Earphones have been a problem here lately. I don't know what's going on in this studio. But Shaun, how are you this afternoon? I
not
guess
doing so good
afternoon.
right now because I'm like hearing double through this thing. So
Do you want here? You can have these.
no, it's fine. We'll just wait till the next segment. That'll be okay. Anyway, sorry, y'all. We're letting you listen to our problems. We should be better at this by now because it's
I
been
know.
almost 2 months. But this is, sorry, it is an issue. Anyway, so we are here to break some interesting stories, Lindsay, about something that we've been following for quite a while. The
Yeah.
Capitol Police story, which, if you all remember, is the story about officers Michael Reinwald, Jeffrey Walker, and Stephen Frederick that were indicted by a Hinds County grand jury and prosecuted by the Attorney General Lynn Fitch's office. Now, there's two indictments, so it gets kind of confusing. One is with Michael Reinwald and Stephen Frederick, which is a manslaughter indictment. One is with Michael Reinwald and Jeffrey Walker, which is an ag assault indictment. Now, the ag assault indictment in front of Judge Wooten, the AG's office was recused because they defended those two individuals in a civil suit based on the same facts. So the AG's office has been recused from that case on order from Judge Wooten. Now, part of Judge Wooten's order, Lindsay, was for the AG to appoint a special prosecutor, and you saw that, right?
Yes. Yes, it did.
Well, so the AG had 10 days
10
to do
days.
so. I believe 10 days. And so yesterday,
Which was like day 10.
Yeah.
Waited to the last minute.
And she appointed Lynn Carter, who is the district attorney for, I think it's Forest and Perry counties, and Hattiesburg, basically. And he's a district attorney down there, so he is accepting the case, and he's going to prosecute the aggravated assault case against Reinwald and Walker.
But
there was a twist in that.
It's always a twist,
There's
right?
always a twist with the Attorney General's office. So what it was is, the statement that was given to the press yesterday, WLBT, was given by her Deputy Attorney General, Lindsey Cranford. Now, Miss Cranford is married to Clay Cranford, who is an assistant district attorney.
She does have a cool name, though.
Cranford?
No, Lindsey.
Lindsey. Oh, there you go. Her husband is an assistant district attorney in that office, in Lynn Carter, who's now the special prosecutor on the Capitol Police case. And so her husband, Clay Cranford, works in that office as an assistant district attorney. So now we've gone from one conflict with the AG's office to a possible appearance of impropriety now, considering that it was assigned to an office where the Deputy Attorney General's husband.
Seems like that's still a conflict.
It's going to be an interesting legal argument. I tell you, just from a practical standpoint, I think Judge Wooten's going to hear this because I know they're going to file a motion. You know, that's coming. Both Francis Springer and Scott Gilbert are filing motions. I can guarantee you that based upon this new issue. And if I were the judge, the circuit judge, it's going to really make me angry. I'm going to be pretty angry about the whole thing because
since you've already had to hear it and you've already ruled that there's a conflict and that there needs to be a special prosecutor assigned. Because I mean, if you all remember, what the AG's office was doing was they were basically representing these guys as their defense and then also prosecuting them at the same time on the same case.
That's correct. Yep, exactly. And that is, I think, going to be, when you're the circuit judge, you're like, hey, I just asked you we got a conflict, go appoint a special prosecutor.
You probably want to get somebody who's not tied in any kind of way to the AG's office. And what do? They go in and get someone who's very much tied into the AG's office.
And not just like an assistant attorney, a special assistant attorney general that works the office in some division. You're talking about the deputy attorney general, like one of her top people in the command of, I'm not exactly sure how they structure that office, but she's one of the higher ranked officials in that office.
We got a phone call coming in. Let's see who's on. Hey, you're on the air.
Hey, I just had a quick question about that being a conflict. So they represented them, as defended them. Would that not give them access to privileged information that a prosecutor may not necessarily get?
That's correct. That's exactly what Judge Wooten said in her order, they would have been privy to those kind of communications. That's right.
They're still wanting to be wow. That just amazes me. No, that's okay. Thank you. That's straight for me.
Yep, you're welcome.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
Thanks for calling. Yeah, I appreciate it. So that was just like he was gentleman was calling in talking about. They had defended him on Walker and Reinwald, by the way, not Walker and Frederick, Walker and Reinwald on the ag assault case. There was a civil suit filed for which the Attorney General represented them in that suit, essentially saying that they didn't do the acts that were part of the allegations of the complaint against them by the plaintiff, which is I think the female that was in the car that was shot. And I think she was shot in the head or something like that. And so they're saying they're defending her and they're speaking to their clients, representing their clients. And then they turn around and go and prosecute them. I don't know, a couple of years later, a year later, whatever it was. And so that's the kind of crux of the problem. Judge Wooten in her order saw that, wrote that out pretty clearly, saying that this is just strikes basically at the heart of justice or fairness in the judicial system, which I think it does. And I think now what you have is she ordered them to appoint a special prosecutor, which I thought that she might have been better off appointing the special prosecutor herself or have the Supreme Court do it. Or maybe refer that to the Supreme Court.
You have to find a prosecutor who will take it, right?
Correct.
Like we were talking about this yesterday. I don't think they can just force someone.
I don't believe they can. As far as I know, they can't. I don't know if they can. Because, I mean, well, if you force someone, like I was saying yesterday, then that person's like, I don't want to do this. And then they just don't call any witnesses. I mean, what do you do then?
Right.
Or they nullipros it, dismiss it is what I mean. So, I mean, I think it's hard I think they have to find somebody willing to do it. I think, maybe the Supreme Court would be the right mechanism. I'm not exactly sure how that should, I've been involved when special prosecutors have been appointed to cases before, but they've not been in like necessarily conflict situations. It's when our office would have people from outside the office want to prosecute cases and we'd give them to them and they'd be made a special prosecutor. A good friend of mine, Dave Gallion, who used to work at Richard Swartz, was appointed to a bunch of those cases and we actually tried them together. But here it's where you have an actual conflict situation. So it seems that since Lynn Fitch had the conflict, her ability to appoint the special prosecutor is a bit tainted in my mind. I think this is either the Circuit Court judge, Judge Wooten, or the Supreme Court, maybe preferably the Supreme Court, because they're not hearing the actual trial until, possible if they were convicted in appellate.
And I love this statement by Lindsey Cranford. Mm-hmm. She says the office respectfully maintains its position against disqualification and reserves the right to seek further review. They say they respectfully agree with Judge Wooten's order.
Or respectfully disagree. Was that right? Or
did it say
I don't remember exactly what the wording was, but I mean,
they respectfully maintain their position against disqualification. So what we're going to do is go get my husband to do it.
My husband to do it, right? Yeah, that's like if you got conflicted out of something and you got me to go do it, like that would be ridiculous. Right? I mean, they kicked you out of Monster Liberty. Like, here's Shaun now. He's gonna take. He's totally not biased, right? I think, and there's a perfect example. Lindsey Cranford is giving the statement to the press,
right?
Like herself, and about this, which is, I mean, it just seems a little bit absurd in my mind that would happen. And you just like, what are they, Lindsey? I'm like, what are they thinking? Just if you're not gonna have to be a lawyer, I think, because I've heard, people out there since this was put out there yesterday by LBT and Jackson Jambalaya, and us actually first, we kind of put it out there. We got blindsided with the radio. I think just you don't have to be a lawyer to look at this and be like, that kind of, everybody I talked to, like, that's kind of messed up. Like, I've talked to a bunch of people last night.
I almost wonder if they looked for someone else to do it and couldn't find anyone who wanted to touch this. Like I said, I don't know anyone that would want to touch this with a 10-foot pole, given that these are Capitol police officers and they're doing their best to protect they're the capital city. And so maybe on day 10, after they have not found anyone who wants to take it, this is the last resort.
Yeah, I mean, that they agree to, there's some like possible home cooking you're saying going on.
Yeah,
that's kind of, it appears. I mean, even if there wasn't,
it certainly looks that way.
Yeah, it's an appearance of impropriety is a part of the problem here. And I think, you're going to have now these motions go before Judge Wooten. And again, if I'm Judge Wooten, I'm pissed. Like, if I was a circuit court judge and I saw this, I'd be like, you've got to be effing kidding me. Like, you really did this. Mm-hmm. And I mean, literally at that point, I'm dismissing the case.
Kind of like a slap in the face to
her order. Mm-hmm. Like, her order says, find a prosecutor. Now, can you find one that isn't married to one of your top people? Like, that would be a good idea. But they didn't go ahead and do that. They go out and they do this. And I just think it just strikes of an issue. And I know they're going to make an argument saying, well, they've not discussed the case. They don't have any access. They didn't represent. And there's going to be good legal arguments on that effect. But the problem is it boils down to that, what I said, the appearance of impropriety, which I think even the third grader could see this and be like, this is an issue.
Like we say all the time, like, things are tried in the public, long before they're tried in a courtroom. And to the public, this doesn't look good.
Mm-hmm. No,
it certainly looks like something stinks.
Well, I mean, because that's the narrative, right? Exactly. The public sees, okay, AG, you have a conflict, so you go get your deputy's husband's office to go do it. Like, that just smacks people of old school Mississippi.
So to break it down, so Lindsey Cranford is kind of like one step under Lynn Fitch at the
Something
AG's
around
office.
that level. She's pretty high. Yeah.
And then this special prosecutor who they've appointed, who also his name is Lynn. It's a him, but
Lynn Carter. Yeah.
And like the person kind of right up underneath him is Lindsey Cranford's husband.
Right. Yeah. He's an assistant district attorney. I don't know what his some offices have chief assistant DAs. I don't know what his title is, but he is an assistant DA in that office. And it's not a huge office like Hinds County. It's not a small one either. There's other jurisdictions that are smaller, but it's a medium-sized office, considering Hattiesburg is pretty large. And I've heard nothing good things about Clay Cranford and Lynn Carter, by the way. So it's not a aspersion on them at all. But this just looks bad. I mean, there's no other way you can sell it that it doesn't look really bad, and that there's and it's not something that's going to, I think, really anger Judge Wooten is known for her temper, from what I've heard, and I would think this is not going to make her happy. I don't think it would make any circuit judge happy when they see this. I heard a story yesterday that so apparently the Attorney General went to the law enforcement luncheon, fallen officers that they have every year, the trademark. I think it was like a week or two ago.
Allegedly.
Yeah, right. No, I think she went, and they all just nobody clapped for her. I don't think anybody talked to her. That's what I was told by several sources that were in attendance.
I actually heard that too. Yeah.
Yeah. So I heard that there was an issue with that, and because
but
obviously
she's probably not very popular within the law enforcement community at the moment. I would think.
Well, now before it looked bad. Now it looks worse. Like,
it does. It just seems like there's some sort of vendetta or she's out to get these guys. And for what reason? We can't figure that out. Like, we've kind of racked our brains trying to think, what good does this do her? Because it certainly doesn't win her any points from people around here, I wouldn't think, because Capitol Police is who protects Central Mississippi area and our capital city.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I don't know. It looks like she's got an obsession complex with the Capitol Police. Because, this would have been easy. Lindsey, let me put it this way. It would have been an easy way out for her. The judge says, okay, find a special prosecutor, and then report to the judge, well, we couldn't. We're going to dismiss the case. Okay, everybody goes back to their corner. Let the water pass under the bridge, the wind blow, that with those sayings. And then maybe people start letting it go. But now what you did, you doubled down on the stupidity, right? And you decided to go get the DA's office with your deputy's husband. And you just make it look like you're after these guys wholeheartedly, and you're trying to do whatever you can do, to get them. So, and I don't know, again, I don't know whether this is going to be deemed like this is unethical conduct or whatever. I'm not even saying that. I'm just saying there's an appearance of impropriety, and it looks terrible. And that's just as clear as I can say.
Did you know that Lindsey Cranford is also the director of public integrity?
Yes, I knew. She's the director of public integrity. Yes, I did know that. And so that's one of the top positions. Stan Alexander, who I know very well, he's now a complex judge, was head of that for a long time. Very serious job to have over there. And you would think she would have thought, hey, maybe not the office with my husband. Like, you just think she would have thought that.
Say that again.
Not the office with, I do my country accent.
Your country came out, Shaun.
My office with my husband. Like, you just would think she would think that, but apparently she didn't think that. And now this is going to be, like I said, much more egg on their face than they had before, because we're going to hear some arguments on this. I guarantee.
I would think so. Well, what do you guys think? Y'all call us. Let us know. Call into the station 601-879-0002. We got to take a quick break, but y'all stay with us, and we will be right back here. WIB 103.9. WIB 103.9.
Keep it tuned here to 103.9 WYAB.
I'm Shaun Yurtkaran, and I've spent nearly 20 years in the courtroom, first as a prosecutor in Hinds County, now fighting for my clients as a defense attorney. I know how the system works, and I know how to protect your rights. If you're facing criminal charges, don't wait. Call me at 601-862-1320 or visit me at onetextlaw.com. That's onetextlaw.com. Serious cases need serious defense. And remember, just because you did it doesn't mean you're guilty. Let's get to work. Are you looking to get stronger, fitter, and push your limits? CrossFit Fondren is where Jackson trains. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, our expert coaches and supportive community will help you crush your goals. Join us for high-intensity workouts that build strength, endurance, and confidence. No gimmicks, just real results. Try your first class today for free. Visit us at CrossFitFondren.com or stop by the gym, 3002 North Mill Street in Jackson, in the heart of Fondren.
Nick Bain served Mississippi for over a decade in the State House. During that time, he fought for our children by protecting them against explicit materials pushed by the woke agenda. He protected taxpayers by streamlining government and helped create policies that have made Mississippi better. Nick and his team at Bain Bowen will use the same tenacity in helping you with all your legal matters. Call them today at 601-953-2994. Find Nick online at bainbowen.com. That's BAIN Bowen.com.
I would buy her the moon if I could, but I've got to stick to my budget. John and Corey, how can I afford the diamond she really wants?
You know, I think you'll be genuinely surprised by how much diamond you can afford at Juniker Jewelry Company.
Because here you will find 10 times the diamonds and engagement rings of average jewelry stores.
And the true diamond experts to help you put it all together.
The diamond engagement ring of her dreams is right here, right now at Juniker Jewelry Company.
And with multiple financing options and good credit, it can be remarkably affordable.
We even have diamond engagement rings complete with your choice of center diamonds, starting at under $2,000. So, what are you waiting for?
Go ahead. Give her the moon.
We make it easy at Juniker Jewelry Company, Mississippi's direct diamond importer.
Juniker Jewelry Company, Mississippi's direct diamond importer. From anywhere in Mississippi, we're at 1485 Highland Colony Parkway, just south of 463 in Madison, and online at junikerjewelry.com. Juniker Jewelry, because love can't wait.
When you feel like your business is drowning in paperwork and compliance issues, it's time to call P-Police. Let P-Police take care of the busy work so that you can save valuable time and focus on what really matters, growing your business. P-Police is based in Ridgeland, so you're always dealing with local professionals who will actually understand your business and its needs. Join thousands of satisfied clients who trust P-Police to simplify their employee administration. Visit ppolice.com. That's ppolice.com to learn more.
Are you hosting an event? Let Burgers Blues Barbecue handle the food while you enjoy the moment. From an important lunch to a dreamy wedding, B3 Catering is sure to please everyone. Find Burgers Blues Barbecue online and click the catering tab or just give us a call. And when you're dining out, visit Burgers Blues Barbecue in Flowood, Brandon, or Madison for incredible plates served fresh daily. Burgers Blues Barbecue and B3 Catering, a delicious combination.
Looking to elevate your ride? Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck have you covered. From rugged bumpers to sleek step bars, Weston's top-notch accessories will transform your truck into a head-turner. And at Rick's Pro Truck, we specialize in custom installations that bring your vision to life. Visit us today for expert advice and unbeatable deals. Weston Automotive and Rick's Pro Truck, where your truck's potential comes alive. Weston and RPT. Trucks live here.
Come together.
We are back here on Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. Shaun and his new country accent over there.
Right.
Shaun, so yesterday you got back to the office and you had some mail.
Oh, yeah, I did. Yeah.
You got what? Best of Jackson?
2025.
The York-Round Law Firm. I bet it's your staff.
It must be my staff. Yes. Certainly not my performance.
I'm kidding. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's an honor. I mean, you've only had your own practice open for a little over a year now. So
Something like that. Yeah.
So congratulations. I'm so proud.
Yeah, it's cool. I let it pays off when you let your clients harass you constantly on weekends or night.
And they do that.
They do that.
Some of them.
Quite a bit. I had one call me at 6:30 this morning, and I'm just, I'm always nice about it, but I'm like, there are business hours. Like, you can wait till 8. Like, especially when it's not really about anything.
The best is when we're out to dinner on a Friday night or something, and he's being blown up by some of these people who say, "Hey, how much can I drink tonight and still pass my drug test or my alcohol test on Monday morning?" Yeah. And Shaun gets so frustrated. He's like, "Are you kidding me? Is this a really question you want to ask me?" It's
it's crazy stuff. I don't know that he's ever asked me that specifically, but Lindsey's joking. But they do call on different nights of the week and weekends. But it's part of the job. When you're a lawyer, you got no choice. You've got to. I mean, people want to talk to their lawyer because usually, the only reason people call me is when they're in a shit sandwich, right? That's not. Can I say that? I'm sorry.
I can't. I'm too close.
Sorry, Matt. An S sandwich. That's the best way I know how to
Look,
describe it.
Matt's gonna have to put the button closer to me because it's way over on the other side. Like I would have to like move way over here to
Kingfish
hit
said
it.
it last week, so I apologize.
It's
for
not
that.
me. It's not me.
Yeah, that was
I
my.
didn't
I
do
just
it.
don't know the way to describe it. Crap sandwich. That's the best way to do it.
Yeah, there you go. Or
Yeah.
you could just say S.
And people don't really get in bad situations between 8 and 5. Usually, it's not.
That's true.
It's not that. It's usually like.
Peekaboo said congrats, and Larry Maloney said congratulations to us both. Thank you, Larry. And
So yeah, nobody.
Dan White said congrats, and thank you, Dan. Dan has on his business page has put a link to our show because he likes listening. So I'm glad somebody does.
Yeah. Right. So, it's yeah. So nobody calls you 8 to 5 when they're in a bad situation. It's always like at night or a weekend. That's just kind of part of the deal. I guess maybe if I was a tax attorney, it would be different. They would,
they wouldn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, they never call. Like, don't call me because if I call them, it's like bad news. They're like, well, sir, you're getting audited. That's not good.
Yeah.
So, anyway, but so we're talking about the Capitol Police drama saga, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, you got a message from someone who shall remain anonymous. And what did it say?
What about?
Yeah, that you just got about the situation. An anonymous elected.
Anonymous caller or texter said on the Shaun text line, it's a gross oversight for her office to get slapped down by a Hinds County judge. No comment on that. I love my Hinds County judges. They're my friends. So I can't say anything, but I can see how people think things. It's pretty bad. The whole thing is just, Lindsey, is just really bad when you look at the facts of the case. I mean, first of all, I guess that's the most important thing when you look at it. Like these guys are not guilty of anything. Like nothing.
No, just guilty of doing their job and protecting themselves, which is what they're taught to do.
Yeah, I mean, and Jackson's I'm surprised. I'll tell you this. I'm surprised they weren't worse. Like the Capitol Police were not out there like the Waffen SS, just like discriminately killing people. Like, and I know it sounds, I don't mean to sound bad, but here's what I mean. It was so bad that it could take that kind of force to get it. And they didn't even do that. They were getting shot at. They held their own and they only fired back when they were being attacked. They weren't just killing people like the narrative is.
Right.
They weren't doing
absolutely.
stuff like that. In other times throughout history, that would have been appropriate, but they were not doing that. They were in a bad situation.
And I don't think the whole story, I mean, we've put it out there, but I don't think, in these news articles and things, like the whole story is being put out there. It's just that they're being accused of shooting someone when, in all actuality, they're not telling the part of the story where this guy has pulled a gun on them or has already like backed into another Capitol Police officer's vehicle. That part's conveniently left out, and it's just, cops have gone rogue and have killed a young father, which is, that's just garbage.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. It's what that's the NBC article is young father.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absurd.
That was a little nuts. So I mean, it's just these guys were doing a really hard job and they were responding correctly. They weren't just like, I was using my example of just indiscriminately killing people like the media I think wants to make you think. They weren't doing that.
It's not like they're Rankin County. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. That was a joke.
Yeah.
I love all of our Rankin County law enforcement friends.
They were not making the prisoners work at the chicken farm.
They were not. They were not doing that.
The chicken farm, nothing like that. They weren't stealing gravel or anything like that. They weren't doing anything of that matter. They're not going to prayer breakfasts or whatever they're called. I'm going to call
keep on with that.
And talking about, everybody needs to stay across the river.
Peekaboo said, as bad as it is in Jackson, it may be necessary to use more force. And I mean, honestly, it's like you're out there in a video game where there's people shooting at you, and what are those video games called that are so violent? Where
shooters? Yeah,
like the auto theft or whatever.
Grand Theft Auto.
Grand Theft Auto.
I think it was like Grand Theft Auto from what I heard from these guys.
Yeah,
it's basically like that.
That's kind of what the world they were living in.
Yeah, absolutely. That was exactly. It's a great example. Like they had to, not like the Atari game we bought this weekend. We bought an Atari, and it's not, the graphics are not the same. But our Nintendo, like the original, will be in like tomorrow. By the way, Lindsey. So.
Oh,
like yes. So I can kick your butt at Super Mario.
That's never gonna happen. Let me just explain to you guys that Shaun gets so frustrated with me because I love to play games. I love to play board games, and we play Battleship and Jenga, and I'm always like, let's play a game, and he's like, really? Do we have to? So he's like, I'm gonna get an Atari, and then we started playing it. It's like, this didn't work as well as I thought it would.
Yeah, and a 50-year-old gaming unit. was not quite as nostalgic as I thought it would be. I mean, it was okay for like an hour.
Yeah, I mean, we played it.
It was only $75, so that wasn't bad.
So then he's ordered the Nintendo, but what we found out is you can't play the original Duck Hunt with the guns because the new TVs won't compute with the system.
Yeah, like if you just like any modern TV that we have, LED, OLED, all that stuff doesn't. The gun that we all, if you're our age, like
you remember Duck Hunt.
Yeah, you remember Duck Hunt, and that gun will not work with your new TV. You have to get like an old TV. Kingfish offered me his old TV, but
I was going to say, we got to find somebody with an old TV, but then how do we even like, you can't just plug those things in and they work.
They work. Just you can plug it in and work just fine.
We had one like in the big, huge console that sat on the floor.
Yeah.
For the longest time. I mean, I think when those were extinct, we still had ours at my parents' house that sat on the floor in that big, huge console. The picture quality was terrible.
Yeah, I didn't get a LCD TV until 2006, like the real like flat, like you think the modern flat thing. Yeah, until 2006. I remember because I spent my entire first lawyer paycheck on that,
and then couldn't pay your rent.
I couldn't pay my rent, so I had to call my dad because I spent like $6,000 on it. That's how much they cost. It's from Circuit City on County Line Road, actually. And I went in there and I just said, because I never got a check that large in my life. It's like when I was working at Richard Swartz, my first job out of law school, and and I got this first check, and I was like, I've never seen this amount of money. So
I'm rich.
Yeah, I'm rich, right? And so then I bought a it was like $5,000, $4,000. I can't remember. It was a lot of money, and I remember I was like, oh wait, now I got to pay rent.
How am I gonna do that?
And I don't have to call my dad. It's like one time I've ever called my dad for rent money. It was that one time, and he said, "You're an idiot," and he gave it to me. I was like, "Okay, thanks, Dad." So I never did that again, and learned how to save my money from that point forward. But I had that TV until like 2019, so it really was actually not a bad investment.
Yeah,
it lasted for quite a while.
It lasted a while. I don't think they make TVs to last nearly. I mean, my 8-year-old, I can't tell you how many TVs he's broken, just like the cheap flat screen ones.
But now they're so cheap that it doesn't really matter. You can get like the one I got in my bedroom. I think I paid like $120 for it.
Yeah.
It's like an Amazon Fire TV. Like they're so cheap. It's not quite the investment.
You should ask Renee if he has an old one because he's always like, I have all these extra TVs.
Yeah. I mean, I got a couple extra TVs. They're just, again, they're so cheap now. It's like most people are even getting away from using TVs. And I don't know how we got on the subject, y'all. I know we're probably listening to talking about the Capitol Police and whatnot, but then again, to video games and Grand Theft Auto, that's what it was.
Yeah, because that's kind of the world they live in as a Capitol Police officer.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, this whole case, I'm telling you, with the AG's office, this has more twists and turns than the Kieran Reed trial. It
does. I mean, we went from we're defending these guys to we're prosecuting them to like, let me call my husband. Like that's going to be totally kosher if I do that. No one's going to say a word.
I'm sure
this is crazy.
I'm sure Judge Wooten saw and was probably like,
yeah, I mean,
what are you guys doing?
She's like, you've got to be effing kidding me. Like that's going to be like her order,
Yeah. So, I mean, you think that they will appeal this to her or?
I mean, I think they're going to file motions in front of her to say, hey, we've still got a conflict. And and I would subpoena, I think they're going to subpoena Lindsey Cranford and her husband and the DA down there and have them testify. I mean, I would.
Yeah. So, I mean, it makes sense that if you're the judge, you would say, hey, I told you guys to appoint a prosecutor because there was a conflict and look what you did. How
did this happen? Who else did you go talk to?
Show me that you tried to find someone else before you went straight to someone who has a connection with the office, like that close of a connection.
Yeah. Did you go to Bubba Bramlett? Did you go to Dwayne Richardson? I mean, there's a host of good DAs in the state you could have gone to. Scott Cologne, did you call him? I mean, there's a lot of people. Like, how many people did you go approach with this before you went to something that would show an appearance of impropriety? Like what kind of efforts that's what I'd want to know.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, we got to take our next commercial break, but y'all stay with us. We'll be right back here. We'll try to stay on track when we get back right here at WIB 103.9.
WYAB. Did you know that the average 6-room house collects 40 pounds of dust each year? Local business Pure Air Consultants duct cleaning service can rid your home of the dust, dirt, and debris that may be caught in your air ducts. They can eliminate the mold, fungi, and microbes that might be growing inside your ductwork and polluting the air you breathe in your home. Mention WYAB and receive a free UV light with system replacement. Visit online at mypureairconsultants.com. mypureairconsultants.com.
At Johnny's Pizza House, we consider our customers like family, so we spend the extra time needed to put more love into making our pizza. From our dough made fresh daily to fresh, never frozen ingredients, Johnny's Pizza House takes pride in knowing that what we serve our customers isn't just pizza. It's a slice of home in every single bite. Great traditions start with great food and great people. Start your tradition today with Johnny's Pizza House. Let's share a slice.
Americans for Prosperity is Mississippi's and the country's leading grassroots organization dedicated to promoting economic freedom and personal liberty. Americans for Prosperity advocates for limited government, free market policies, and empowering individuals. When given freedom and opportunity, Americans are capable of extraordinary things. If you are ready to make a difference in our community and want to get involved, then visit americansforprosperity.org. Be a part of positive change at americansforprosperity.org. Paid for by Americans for Prosperity.
Pure Air Consultants has always been your go-to for reliable and affordable heating and cooling systems, and now we are offering day and night brand to avoid the 25 to 30% increases that everyone is talking about. With day and night, Pure Air Consultants professionals can install a reliable system with a 10-year system warranty, and right now receive $20 off on service diagnostic fees. Call us today, 601-939-7420, mypureairconsultants.com.
CBS News Brief. President Trump went to Capitol Hill today to urge unity among Republicans on his budget bill. CBS's Torian Small.
The president does not want to see grandstanders. He wants them to push this bill through.
Federal prosecutors have now charged Democratic Representative LaMonica McIver with pushing and grabbing officers attempting to arrest Newark, New Jersey's mayor outside an immigration facility. Scott McFarlane is following.
McIver calls this a purely political prosecution and says it was the agents who created an unnecessary and unsafe confrontation.
Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear toured some of the hardest hit areas of his state after severe storms.
Conditions are so bad, we're working on an evacuation plan for these two hard-hit neighborhoods.
Louisiana authorities have arrested an Orleans Parish Sheriff's employee in connection with the escape of 10 inmates. CBS News Brief, I'm Cammie McCormick.
Pet emergencies don't wait, so why should you? At Urge Vet Emergency Vets of Madison, we offer low wait times and cutting-edge technology to provide fast, expert care for all household pets. Our hours of operation are weeknights 5 p.m. to 8 a.m. and 24 hours on weekends and holidays. Our phone number is 601-790-1918 and follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Because when it comes to your pet's health, trust the team that's fast, reliable, and compassionate.
You know what's a nightmare? We've all seen that movie where the bad guy's coming and your gun jams up. Luckily, that's just a movie, but you can't take the chance it could happen to you in real life. Hey, y'all, I'm Therese Apel from Dark Horse Press, and I've written stories about a whole lot of situations where people needed their gun to work for them. So if yours is moody or likes to jam, you need to take it to Guns and Gear. Let their professional gunsmiths look at it and fix it so it'll work when you need it. They're the absolute best at what they do, and that's why I buy all my guns from them. That's Guns and Gear in Gluckstadt. Check them out today.
Malone is a company in motion, striving daily to improve the way the roofing industry operates and is perceived. A leader in commercial and residential roofing, metal walls, and maintenance. Malone means the highest quality materials delivered with expertise workmanship from McLean or construction. At Malone, you found your roofing and metal walls partner. Malone has proven for generations there is nothing we can't accomplish. Protecting people and what matters to you. More info at ecmalone.com.
Are you looking to get stronger, fitter, and push your limits? CrossFit Fondren is where Jackson trains. Whether you're a beginner or a seasoned athlete, our expert coaches and supportive community will help you crush your goals. Join us for high-intensity workouts that build strength, endurance, and confidence. No gimmicks, just real results. Try your first class today for free. Visit us at CrossFitFondren.com or stop by the gym 3002 North Mill Street in Jackson, in the heart of Fondren.
Come together right now.
We are back here on Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. Shaun, I heard your buddy David Archie's got a new job.
He does. Apparently, our favorite friend, David Archie, remember, if y'all remember, the guy that didn't want white people to vote in the election, at least that was the implicit
What did he
thing.
say? They needed some kind of test or something?
Yeah, I want to take literacy tests or whatever you want us to do. Something. It was just to basically what he was saying. He wasn't. He didn't explicitly say, "I don't want white people to vote." He's basically just saying white people are, run John Horn, and this is not fair. And it was total racist crap, I thought.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he had always had an opinion of Chokwe up until all of a sudden when after the initial runoff, when he was kicked out of the mayor's race, he all of a sudden decided to back the mayor at the time. I guess the current mayor still.
Yeah.
Which I hear this election is going to be a little more interesting than people make it out to be.
We can get to that real quick. Let's start with this though. So if you go to Jackson Jambalaya, he's got an article up there. Kingfish got an article there that says "Payoff" is the headline.
Yeah.
And it says, well, look what happened. Who popped up in a new job at City Hall? WLBT reported David Archie was recently hired as the mayor's office staff assistant in the Department of Constituent Services. So I guess, he gets a 2-month job, or less than 2 months now, for his assistance in this matter, Lindsay.
Yeah. I mean, enjoy your 2 months.
I mean, hey, look, that's a paycheck. I don't know if he was working anywhere for that. And
no, he was too busy filing motions about stolen elections.
Yeah, he's been out of a job for almost a couple of years now. So maybe he got a job there, needs some income. Good for David there. David.
So I don't know if he's making much off his live videos and his radio broadcast that he does once in a while.
Standing on business, right? As everybody calls it. Yeah, sometimes though, Lindsay, when you make a deal with the devil from guitar lessons, it doesn't go that well in the end. That's an old reference to Robert Johnson, infamous Mississippi story at the crossroads. But yeah, so I guess he's got his little job there till July 1st, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, it's just a very, very interesting. Peekaboo said, "Sadly, I voted for Archie against Chokwe, but then all this came out about him."
Yeah, right.
Yeah, a lot of people supported him. A lot of people stood with him, and even were showing up to speak for him. A lot of the Republicans were showing up to speak for him when it came to, I guess, his not being reelected as a city council member. But I think people didn't appreciate him taking this turn and backing Chokwe as much as he has.
Yeah. Well, and then of course, we have a mayor's race still on June 3rd, which is 2 weeks from today.
And I've been saying for months now, don't count out some of these independents.
I tell you what, I've had a lot of conversations this weekend about that. Some with some of Chokwe's people who remain nameless, but I've talked to them who they're trying to say that DePriest has got it. Like, I disagree with that. I don't see that happening.
I think he's going to get a lot more votes than a lot of people think he's going to get.
He's probably going to come in second, I would say. I think he'll come in second. But I mean, I think John Horn's going to walk away with it still. In my opinion, that has not changed. I think Zach Service is going to do a lot better than you think he's going to do. Kingfish, who told me that? I think Kingfish is like, he's going to do well. Like he may come in third.
We'll see.
That's Kingfish.
I can't possibly see Zach Service getting more votes than Kim Wade.
I don't. You know what? I'm gonna say this. I'm voting for Kim, but I'm voting for Kim because I do like what he has to say, obviously. And are we gonna go to that barbecue he's having like next week?
Hey, deer and beer.
Yeah, I'm obviously gonna vote for Kim. You got to vote for your friends. Is the way I look at it. But
and I don't get a vote. I don't live in Jackson.
You don't live in Jackson, but so I'm out there. I'm voting for Kim. But I would say that yeah, it's going to be interesting. Like, so Kingfish was kind of telling me he thinks it's going to shake out like Horn, DePriest, Service, Kim, which I don't know. I'm kind of in agreement with that. May happen. That could happen. I could see Kim and Service interchanging positions, but I think that may be the way you see it happening.
I think DePriest has done a lot more campaigning prior to ever announcing his run for mayor than people may realize.
And that's the wild card. And so that's what I call, I talk to the Chokwe people and I like to say this, my black connections, because I got a lot of black friends who kind of tell me what's going on in the community. So, and they say DePriest has got a lot of popularity with the black community.
He's been at it for quite some time now, long before anyone ever realized who he was or that he would ever be running. And I met him, I was impressed with him, but I was told this from some pretty trustful sources way before the election ever even kicked off.
Yeah, you told me about this a while ago, but let me give you just an example of me driving over here today. So we haven't gone from my office the way I go to the studio yet, but I go a different way than I do from my house. So I go up from my offices over there in the warehouse district in Fondren, and I go up and I go down. I think it's Bailey right there, and before I get to North Side, so kind of through the Verdon addition. And there's Dupree signs and there ain't no white people living in those neighborhoods, and it's Dupree signs. So I noticed a bunch of them over there. And I'm like, this is really fascinating over in these neighborhoods where you wouldn't think a white candidate would play well. But
you and I drove out to South Jackson. We had to take a subpoena.
Yeah.
And we were seeing signs over there
for the priest.
the priest. And I mean, there's definitely not any white people living over there. So we'll see.
I mean, Chokeway's folks were trying to, I mean, I figured they were just saying it kind of like because they hate Horn now, but
no, I mean, but I like I said, I've been hearing that for a long time, way before this election ever even kicked off, and anyone knew who the candidates were going to be. Is that he was going to be someone to watch out for?
You might be right, because I mean, I literally there's this silent support for him that I just didn't. You don't see. It's not loud. It's not loud. Like Zach Service is really loud because he's on social media, so he's pushing that harder than anybody that I've seen so far. And Horn's loud because he's got the money and he's got the business community behind him, and you see that. But the priest, you don't like in those neighborhoods. When you drive around and you see I didn't see any Horn signs over there. I see priest signs in those neighborhoods, and I was like, this is really that'll be the most fascinating thing if that. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's going to be really
I
fascinating.
mean, call me crazy, but I'm sorry.
I do quite a bit.
Yeah, you do. You certainly do. But if you're going to be the mayor of our capital city and someone asks you, hey, how long have you lived in Jackson? And you answer the question with, which answer would you like me to give you? Then you ain't the one, dude. You ain't the one.
I don't think Zach's going to win, but I can't deny the fact the guy's social media campaign has been pretty, and he's been on campaign.
If you can't answer how long you've lived in Jackson, the city you're campaigning to be mayor for, then you need to go on.
Well,
like that was the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my life. I lost so much respect for him, not over some of the other stuff that I've heard about him, which is not good either, but over the fact that he couldn't answer how long he's lived in Jackson, the city he wants to be mayor for.
Right.
Like that was outrageous to me.
Yeah. I mean, I see that. I see the issues with that for sure. I'm just saying he's put himself out there pretty strong. Now he's
and what's his name? That black guy that walks around talking about all the potholes and the roads.
I don't even know that guy's name.
Shawty Mac.
Hey,
he and Shawty Mac.
We live in a social media age. He's not going to win. I don't think he's going to win, but I just going to do better than you think he's going to do. That's all I'm saying.
We'll see.
There is also I've talked to Kingfish this weekend quite a bit about the Ward 7 race in my neighborhood, which I'm really interested in, obviously, because I live there. And that's Bellhaven, Fondren. And there's Kevin Parkinson versus Ron Aldridge. And Ron Aldridge, I think, is kind of seen as the more conservative candidate. He's independent. He's running as an independent. But he's got a heck of a resume. Guy's been a lawyer for a long time, run a bunch of businesses, was in the House in the 1980s. He's, apparently got a really good plan. I've heard nothing but good things about him and his experiences.
About which one?
Ron Aldridge.
Ron Aldridge.
And I'll tell you what, talking about signs, his signs, you come to my neighborhood all the time. His signs are everywhere.
This is Ward 7?
Yes, in my neighborhood.
That's the one who, what's his name? So that's the one that the Dan Edney lookalike didn't win, but the other guy, what's that?
Kevin Parkinson beat
Quint Withers.
Correct.
I always want to call him Kent, but he just looks so much like Dan Edney.
Yeah, Quint Withers lost to Kevin Parkinson, who was
But I've seen some Kevin Parkinson signs over there.
Sure, there is. But Parkinson's only qualifications I've heard is that he got let go from the Midtown school. I don't know, that's what Kingfish had told me. I don't know what this.
And he was driving around parking in handicap spots in his minivan that said liberal on the back of
vote dim.
Vote dim.
Kingfish was that's his gripe. But he doesn't. So his qualifications are worked at charter school that wasn't doing very well. This is what Kingfish is related to me. And then Tony Yarber took over. Now it's doing a lot better. The former mayor. So I'm gonna look at the qualifications between those two candidates, and I'm obviously gonna vote for Ron Aldridge. And it looks like a lot of people in my neighborhood are going to do the same. So,
and then there's a Taylor Turcotte, the Republican.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting that
candidate in that race.
That's right. I just forgot there's a Republican in that race.
Yeah, so there'll be a Democrat, Independent, and Republican in that Ward 7.
Yeah, interesting
race. Yeah.
Well, I think maybe if the thing's close, maybe Taylor would be I don't know, but Taylor might help Parkinson out more than Aldridge since he's more conservative, though. Might take some votes from him. That could be possible.
We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out. When is that election?
June 3rd, same day as the mayor's race.
June 3rd?
Yep.
So that's,
June 3rd.
that's
it's
right
2
around
weeks from
the corner.
today. 2 weeks
Right
from
around
today,
the
we'll know
corner.
who the new mayor of Jackson. Well, of course, there could be a runoff if there's, and we don't know that may happen.
Yeah, that's true. There very well could be.
Could be.
I mean, that could be what happens in the mayor, and then it will be another 3 weeks. But and also, you were telling me tonight there's a big documentary that's coming out, right?
There is a big documentary about Brett Favre that was released on Netflix today, and I actually did talk to the guy that produced it back in the fall. And it's going to have a lot of stuff, a lot of local stuff. I think you're going to see stuff about Jody Owens and Chad White and those kinds of things. I think are going to be in there. So it's something to watch.
Should be interesting.
It's going to be, I can't wait to see it. And Kim Wade is texting me right now. He
What
says,
is
no,
his-
he says, me and Tim Henderson are going to throw support. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. I don't know who Tim Henderson is. I don't think I'm running for mayor.
He was running for mayor. He came in third. Remember?
Oh, that's right.
It was
That's right. Tim Henderson.
John Horn.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Chokwe second, or did Tim Henderson get more than Chokwe?
Tim Henderson came in third, I thought.
Is that right?
Yeah,
I can't
think so.
can't
I think he
remember.
did.
Lord, how short our memories are.
I know. I mean, all I know is Chokwe's gone. And he's going to prison.
That was the biggest.
That's all I know. Like,
That was
Chokwe's going to prison, and then he's gone. And whoever wins, I don't really care at this point, to be honest with you, as long as it's not him.
Peekaboo said that he did answer. Zach Service did answer how long. He think maybe he said 10 years. Maybe he did eventually answer, but the initial answer was, "Which answer would you like me to give you?" And I'm just like, really, dude, come on.
I'm saying, I think the guy is, for having no money, he's run a pretty good race. I'm just giving him credit where credit's due on that.
I would have done a lot of things differently, but I'm not.
We all
running for
know who
mayor,
he
Jackson.
is, and he had like no money. I mean, you got to give him credit for that. Like that's all.
Well, I know who he is because of your major fight with him.
Yeah, I know that we made up. We're cool. Me and Zach are cool now.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, well, we're going to take our last commercial break. Sean's got to get ready for court,
go to
but
court.
we will be right back here. Stay with us, WIB 103.9, Crossing the Aisle with Shaun and Lindsey. Be right back. Welcome back here to Crossing the Aisle with Lindsay at this point. So Shaun had to go to court and run out of here real quick. But let me just tell you guys, if you are not watching the Karen Reed trial, you need to be watching it. It is so outrageous, and there have been so many twists and turns so far. And it got really interesting yesterday and into today. They have this where the Commonwealth, who is what we would call the state or the prosecutor, has called this witness who is testifying to the car and the black box of the Lexus SUV that she was driving in the time. And if you haven't been watching, Karen Reed is being accused and she's on trial for murder of her boyfriend. They say that she backed into him with her vehicle and killed him, left him in the snow to die, found him the next morning. But this reenactment or specialist who's supposed to tell us exactly what the car did and exactly what the times were has come in, and claims that he has all of these bachelor's degrees and all of these, he's this expert opinion. And the defense just tore him to shreds in cross-examination. They had him admit to the fact that he does not have any bachelor's degree, that he's currently trying to get a bachelor's degree, which he's been in the process of trying to achieve for 17 years now. And that the place UAB, University of Alabama at Birmingham, is where he's supposedly been in school, and they don't even have a bachelor's in what he says he's attempting to get his bachelor's degree in. So they've just really, really torn him to shreds. And I don't know how this case can even move forward and not be dismissed. But the judge, and everyone calls her Aunt Bev, she's clearly on the side of the Commonwealth, the prosecution. So it's very interesting. Y'all go check that out so that someone can talk about it with me, and we will see you guys back here tomorrow.